hosting up like Saturday write-ins.
Oh, cool.
Just for NaNoWriMo for
Gotcha.
like November.
Well, we're live. We'll put it in the description. We also need to start putting in your, we're on YouTube. I hear us. We need to start putting your podcast in the description as well.
Oh, yes.
Your links. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, a soft start, you guys. Jen and I are already talking. I just hit the live button. We're just chatting away. Oh, I hear us.
Sorry.
We're nailing it. So we're talking about Nano. We are definitely going to be doing this write-in. Our write-in is only an hour. We have 3 prompts. Jen will tell you all about it. But for those of you, all about it. We are, just so you know, right on the top, we are continuing to do this Mondays at 7. I goofed, and for some reason, I put this on Thursday. What? So sorry if everyone was like, we're waiting for Thursday. Nope, it's Mondays, 7 p.m. Central Standard. It will be that. It's been that way forever.
Yeah. We'll keep it that way through November as well.
Yeah.
We just talked about it real fast.
Real fast. So yeah, we're in. We are in. And if you guys are doing NaNoWriMo, you can of course use this. We don't have long sprints, but feel free to come find us Mondays and mute us and write the whole hour if you need to.
Yay!
Yeah. So Jen, tell everybody about what is the prompt?
Today our theme is treats. So last week we did trick, and this week we're doing treats because it's Halloween.
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, we're gonna do treats this week, and should I just give them the quick spiel?
Yeah, I mean I love a spiel.
My vacuum cleaner pitch.
Your vacuum cleaner pitch. It's an elevator pitch. We've moved up with the times.
I read old-timey stuff. Door to door.
You're like, elevator? What's this elevator you speak of?
You're selling Encyclopedia Britannica and vacuums.
All right, well, give us that Encyclopedia Britannica pitch.
Has anyone ever had a door-to-door salesman come to their house like when they were a little kid? I never did.
No. We had a Schwanzman, closest thing, but he was scheduled and arrived. If there's a salesman coming to your door, they're a murderer.
Oh, for sure, a murderer
now.
But back in the day, that was like, it was okay. But I'm trying to figure out were people still doing that in like I think the 80s, no.
Yeah, I think maybe 70s. I'm not sure.
70s?
I'm not sure.
50s, no, all the time. When you read like old short stories and stuff from the 50s, always
door-to-door salesman. I feel like door-to-door salesman, and if you're I'm sorry if this is gendered, but if you are a man walking along on the sidewalk and whistling, I 100% assume you're a murderer. Even if you're just having a nice time.
Yeah.
Sorry, dudes.
If you're doing that, you're whistling because you have like a bloody knife.
You're like I'm just having a good time. I'm like, murderer. Yeah. Anywho, we went right off the rails. But it's a Halloween week. We were doing tricks, and I guess we're still in the tricks mode. Today, we're trying to get a little sweeter. We'll try.
I'm wearing for reals clothes. Normally I have my pajamas on. But this dress looks like pajamas, so
counts. Counts. We're comfy. We're talking about murders, and we're writing about treats. What a Monday.
Monday time. All right, so I'll give you guys the quick rundown of what we're doing tonight. We're going to do 3 writing prompts with sprints. We're going to do a 5-minute, a 10-minute, and a 15. We'll have a prompt for each one of the writing sprints. You can take it or leave it. You can change it up if you want. You can throw it away, use your own. And we'll have a timer up. And there we go.
You're not even going to believe this, Jen. Check this out. What?
Oh.
Timer was prepared and ready.
Ready.
Who am I even?
I love it. All right, are we jumping in? Are you ready for the first one?
I'm ready. I think it's just you and me right now, to be honest, but who cares?
We messed up the time. Nobody can find it.
You're so nice to say we. This gal messed it up.
People are just having Halloween parties early.
We are not invited.
No one should be invited. Don't invite people to your Halloween parties.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
So have solo parties.
Good save. All right, well, I'm ready. You're ready. Okay. I feel like let's do this.
Real quick, my goal for this write-in is to actually do the write-in and not get distracted and just do random things.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll be watching you.
5 minutes. Okay, here's our prompt. First prompt is, the worst candy is blank. The worst candy is blank.
I gotta say, I love a good Mad Lib prompt. I love it. On your marks, get set. Right? Okay. Did it. Nicely done
Yay!
us. I'm very
I know, right? Just us. I stuck with it. I didn't
good
stray
job.
and get distracted by shiny
Well, you were
things.
distracted last time because you were writing something else, and I feel like that is an appropriate and okay distraction. No,
That's true. Yeah, I was kind of
you
like
were editing. Yeah,
researching, digging, but
yeah.
but
All is
how
forgiven.
about you? What is the worst?
I took a different route, of course. I was thinking about it's people shit on coconut candy all the time, but not me. I love it. So
Even when you were a kid,
loved it. Always loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was really making my argument for Almond Joy and Mounds. And at the end, I am somebody who doesn't like cilantro or coriander or whatever you call it from whatever region. It tastes like soap to me. So by the end, I was just ranting. I'm like, if I'm not going to be shitting on your soap herb, why don't you just leave coconut alone? So I was really very enraged about an imaginary person really dissing on
getting in your face about
the
Almond Joy.
Yeah, but I love the Almond Joy. I think one of the things that drew it to me as a kid, not just the taste, but the options and that jingle. That jingle in the 90s, like sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't.
That's right. And which one had the wait? It says in the song.
Almond Joy. Yeah. Well, because this is the beauty of advertising in the horror is like they just made a sound effect. So like sometimes you feel like a nut, and sometimes you don't. And then they say,
like,
yeah. And they're like, Almond Joy said nuts, Mom, don't, because sometimes you feel like a boy, and sometimes you're boy. I mean, it's burned in my brain. But
makes a lot of sense.
Nuts, non-nuts, chocolate, milk chocolate, dark chocolate. I mean, the options. Oh my gosh, there's a giant bug. Sorry. This is the beauty of live. Where are you, bug? I got my ruler.
Oh, I thought you had a knife. I was like, dang.
Yeah, I just sliced. Anyway, how about you? I will. Can you imagine if I just like a machete the bug?
Just right in there. You're like.
Where are you? Okay, a feathery house centipede or whatever you're called. What about you, Jen? What candy is the worst?
So that's interesting because my first instinct was like Almond Joy and
Just kidding.
yeah, no, right? We're gonna fight and black jelly beans. But then I realized I was like, actually, I probably don't dislike those things as much as anymore. I didn't like them when I was a kid. But I bet as an adult, I wouldn't mind them as much. Like certainly I like coconut now. I didn't when I was a kid. I didn't like the texture. But
right.
I like coconut a lot. And I've had coconut candies. I don't think I've had an Almond Joy, but and then I realized I was like, I think that I really hate things that I loved as a kid, like sweet tarts and like like nerds, like those really like sugary candies, like that.
Yeah.
I would never.
Like the artificial over the top.
Yeah, where it like coats your tongue.
Yeah.
And you're like, no. And
what about Sour Patch Kids?
I don't think I could do it. It's funny because my parents sent like Easter candy and like fancy Easter candy from some, I don't know, shop or whatever. I don't want to know how much it costs. It'll make me mad. But and it was like huge jelly beans, like really fancy, like, giant gourmet jelly beans. And I loved jelly beans when I was a kid. And so I was eating some of them and I liked it, but I was like, I instantly felt sick. They bothered I don't like the taste in my mouth for a long time. It was weird. It was so different. Changing. Taste buds change. I'm not a big sweets person anymore, but I like chocolate. So isn't it funny? It would just like changes. Probably no one cares, but.
Well, no, but I also think it's interesting too. Like, I love the idea. We were talking about like if you're a whistler, you're a murderer, but this idea of contrast too, right? If you're like, having a character, and I know this sounds like duh, but having them have like a favorite candy and like, isn't this like a trope of like some really bad guys? You make them almost, juvenile or playful, and then so when they turn on you, it seems like the innocent of a kid and then just turning. I like that. And like, what kind of character would eat a nerd as opposed to like a black jelly bean, which seems like to me very like medicinal and like an older woman or like a grandma.
Well, because they're like, it's just a different kind of taste. And, like people, I mean, obviously like most adults eat things like dark chocolate or, like fancier things. They're not eating like straight up kid candy. Yeah. My mom eats kid candy. She
Yeah.
buys like sour gummy worms with like the sugar on the outside, and I'm like, it's weird and gross. It's like, I'm like, no adults eat that.
Yeah. I mean, unless she's, and I know that I'm like talking to my nutritionist because I'm somebody the opposite. I definitely have like a sweet tooth, and although it can get nauseating, for sure, you just turns out you have no free will. It's just the yeast in your body, I guess.
I know. I think that's her thing. Like she like has like low, like super low iron, and I think it gives her sugar cravings.
No, gotcha.
Throwing out my mom's medical history here.
It's so funny though, because I think Candy and Moms, and I know we can move on to the next one, but I think Candy and Moms, my mom is kind of the inspiration a little bit here. My mom is like, I don't know if my mom, I don't want to insult her, but she'll like, we have like Sunday night Zooms and we're like having dinner, and she always asks what everybody else eats, and she'll always like shit on it. Like always. Yeah, she's like, she's like, asked Nye the other night, she's like, what are you guys having? And I was like, oh, my mom is making this like tofu and vegetables. And she's like, oh no, disgusting. You're like, take it down a notch, mom. And like, what are you having? She's like, pizza and ice cream. I'm like, you're 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom has a palate. That's what my mom eats. She's like, she eats like hamburgers and pizza and,
Yeah. My mom has like Cheerios, like straight up Cheerio. And like, listen, I don't want this to turn into like a crapping on moms, but I feel like candy and like, there's something we're connecting it with mom stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think too, I don't know. I know that like my mom used to hide candy all over, like to hide it from us. And I think it was like a stress reliever to like sneak it. So it was like, we're all like running around being irritating, and then you're like, sneak your chocolate. And then you're like, we don't get it. We don't know what's happening.
It's like Mama's Little Helper, but like the light version.
Chocolate.
Well, that's interesting too, is like the idea of treats for your character, of like, what do they choose and where do they put it? Yeah, it's interesting. Awesome. Well, we figured out a lot about our moms.
Remind me after this. I have to tell you something. I can't say
it. You can't say it because it's the internet and somebody can find it.
Remind me. It's really funny.
Okay.
Sorry, everyone else.
Secrets. Well, should we jump into the 10-minute prompt?
Yeah, let's do the 10-minute one.
Okay. Let me prep it up if you want to read it out.
Yes. Okay. 10 minutes. Second prompt. You or your character can take a trip anywhere in the universe. Where do they go? Or I think I said world, but we'll do universe. Whatever. Okay. Don't limit yourself.
That's right. And for anybody who's watching later, because it's just Jen and I right now, dishing secrets. Right. But all these prompts are in the description box below. Oh, I got the giggles now. Okay, so you and your character could take a trip anywhere in the world/universe. Where do they go? That's what we're on, right?
Yep.
I'm losing it. All right, 10 minutes. You marked it right.
It's gonna be a candy factory.
Okay.
Yay!
Did it. Yay. Awesome. Well, we are cruising along. I feel I'm just cheerleading us. I feel like we're doing awesome.
I know. And I paid attention to my writing. I didn't get distracted. I wanted to.
Yeah.
No.
Sometimes it's it. You got to refocus up. I sadly did get a little distracted, but that's okay because it worked its way into the story. My alarm, yeah, the alarm went off. I had to take my pills, so I was trying to go to Machu Picchu, and you have to take pills for the altitude. Yeah, and she accidentally dropped her pills, and she was in real trouble.
Oh yeah, because what is it for?
Yeah, the altitude. I'm not quite sure what like the actual pills are. I just know that you're supposed to, if you're not used to that altitude.
Yeah, my brother went to Machu Picchu. I don't.
Yeah. Amazing.
Some pills.
I know. I was waiting for it. I was like, I was like, that's another thing that's gonna have to come off camera. when Jen doesn't see people in the comments, she's just going deep.
It's just like I'm by myself. Yeah. I'm by myself a lot. That's part of the problem.
Like, well, we're just gonna talk about this.
So yeah, that's really funny.
How does it feel to not like refocusing and like I'm gonna, because I do think trying to refocus when writing, because you were editing before, and take a little time to, you something have to really train yourself. And granted 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you're somebody who can write for very long chunks of time. Do you have to get back into this swing sometimes?
Oh yeah, I feel like it's similar to like when you're exercising, and then you do it, you build up, you get better at it, and like you're doing it every day, you're doing it at the same time, that kind of thing. And then if you stop doing it, it's like you kind of have to go all the way back to the beginning a little bit. So I feel like writing in bigger chunks it's like a training thing. You have to do small sprints and things like that. So yeah, I used to be able to write at a very large volume when I sat down, like just like 1,000 words, 1,200 words, just like in one sitting. And I just struggle because I don't do it consistently anymore. But that's when I was trying to write like really big stuff, which I'm not really doing so much anymore right now. So
yeah. So any tips for people that are trying to get their refocus back, even if it isn't large?
For sure. Yeah. So honestly, just start. Well, first of all, I always tell people too, when I've like taught classes and stuff about it, I'm like, anybody can write at a large volume. It's not like a magical thing that like, oh, some people can do this and some people can't. It's literally just training yourself. And so I always tell people, I'm like, start, with a small amount, like whatever you can do in like 10 minutes easily, and like have a word count. So it's like, okay, I can do 250 words, like pretty simply. So do 250 words every day or whatever you decide to do, 3 days a week. Do it consistently for like a week until it becomes very simple. And then, double it. Now do 500, and then do that, then when that gets really simple, move up to 700. And then when that gets really simple, move up to 1,000. And then some people, that's like, they just settle. If you find like you can't move up to 700, like now you're not doing it, then just go back to 500, and that's where you should be.
Are you changing the time frame as well? Or are you like super speedy? You're changing the time and the word count.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. You're changing the time frame. Although you get faster if you're just trying to do first draft stuff, right? Like you'll get faster. Like you could get, when you first start, it might take you like 20 minutes to get, a couple hundred words down. And then if I'm in a really good place, I can get like 600-700 words out in like 20-25 minutes. If I'm if I'm in a good zone and I'm just like really like not thinking about it. But that like, it takes a little practice.
So it's really just practice within giving yourself those deadlines. And then do you have any like tricks that are not even writing related to like how to help your focus? Do you, because it maybe not. I just wonder, like, I know that there are people can do this, like what, like not just like meditation or whatever, but like there are things that people do. Like I can train to focus, then that can, in whatever way, and then I can bring that into my writing. Do you have that, or do you just really are diligent about the writing when you're flexing?
What do you do to train to focus? Is that like meditation?
Yeah, meditation is one thing, but I have a tendency to like read. If I can, like, if I'm like, okay, I can focus my time to read for X amount, I can like do art, like if I can just sit down and do other things, like especially like stippling, any art where it's like repetitive art. I started when I was doing doodling. I was like, okay, I'm just practicing on focusing. And I think that all translates, if you can, okay, I can focus for 10 minutes and then I get bored. I can focus for 15. I can focus for 20. Oh, I can,
Yeah.
where I'm not
that's
like,
fantastic. That's
yeah.
way better than what I'm doing, which is just gutting it out.
Because I find it really difficult to do the daily practice. I say that, and then COVID really changed that just because I didn't have any distractions. I wasn't trying to like hustle in the same way. So discipline and spontaneity, I have a challenge balancing those two.
Mm-hmm.
And so I needed help focusing. And so the daily things like helped me. And they're small. I'm not like every day 2 hours I do art, every day 2 hours. No, And then I'm like learning Spanish. I do it 15 minutes a day. It's
That's really good though. 50,
it's like
you say 50 or 15?
15, 1 5.
Oh, but even still. But I've realized how hard it is to do something something focused for 15 to 20 minutes. Like even this, like, to sit and write for a full 15 minutes. I'm going to be really excited if I actually get through the 15 one. Because my focus has been, I go through waves of it. And I think it's true. It's like if I'm doing it daily and I've heard from a lot of writers that some of them, like, they have to write every day because if they don't, they will fall out of it. So it's like they must, hit the page or, and I totally get that. I think for me, I used to be much more disciplined about it. And it's, I go in spurts now. I feel like when I have a deadline, it gives me like an adrenaline rush of basically like panic and that focuses me, but that's not a great, cause you're not always going to have that. And so otherwise it's almost like I just have to give myself extra time because I know half of it I'm just going to be like wandering around talking to myself.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Although sometimes that is writing, and like I watched like a lot of like those master classes or whatever, and everyone's like, talking is writing. Sometimes that's what it is, Especially not just dialogue, but like you're figuring it out,
I'm trying to be really good now about, just being like, okay, here's what I want to accomplish in the week. I want to do these things, keeping them realistic, the goals, because I have a bad habit of like making unrealistic goals, which I'm not going to make, and then I get frustrated. So it's like making them realistic. And then something I'm starting to do now is like say, yes, you accomplished this. You did get, like, I submitted something last week. You submitted something. I finished, like this, like the podcast, like you're doing that, you know what I mean? It's like making sure that you're ticking off what you're actually doing, because I feel like I'm like, I should have done so much more. I didn't get anything, I could have gotten so much more done. Yeah. But I'm like, that's part of the process is the amount of time it takes you. And that's a lot of it's just staring at the page. Yeah. Or messing around or, like,
I like what you said though, about like celebrating it.
I'm trying to be better about that. I'm really terrible with that. Yeah.
Because then you often get into that cycle of like, I didn't do enough, I didn't write enough, I didn't do X amount, instead of stepping back and being like, whoa, this is what I actually did. Good job, me. Like I have a check, because you also get a chance to like reflect on it. So everything just doesn't whiz by. So it just doesn't go. It go, okay, well, on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. Instead of be like, okay, what have I done? What have I accomplished? Let's take this amount of time, and then you can move forward once you like sit in it for a bit.
Well, also, I realize if I'm not doing that, then I feel very defeated all the time.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
Right, and then it pulls you down further, so you're not being as productive because you feel like you're not getting anywhere. Yeah. And if you take a step back and you're like, here's the things that I accomplished this week, it's actually it's a lot. And it's like, when have you ever like, did you ever sit down like back in theater days, and you obviously did this and like made your like theater resume?
Oh yeah.
And you sit down there, you're like, I did a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I often had to do that because I'm always like revamping the resume or whatever, for like the comedy stuff. And I also do a personal thing where I do like quarterly goals and annual goals, because I noticed this. Yeah. I would forget, and you'd look at this and you'd be like, how am I even awake right now? Like you'd be like, I think I'm doing nothing. I think I accomplished nothing, because I didn't have like a job or like a structure in which there was a structure. So I had to like reflect on myself, and I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And you should be proud. Like, I feel like people should be like, I should be proud of this.
For me, it's like, I feel like too, in part of this, a lot of this is our society. If you didn't make money from it, or if you didn't get some kind of outside accolade from it, then it doesn't count. You feel like, oh, it didn't actually count. You don't count it. Society doesn't count it. Like, it's not counted. But then if you sit down and you're like, okay, here's what I actually produced, what I put out in the world, and then you start tallying that up, it becomes an enormous amount. And then, so you have to sort of change, I think, sometimes your mindset as an artist. And that's how I felt about theater. It's like, I always, looking back now, so many years later when I'm not really doing it anymore, it's like, I did a lot of stuff, and I did a lot of good stuff, and I did a lot of stuff that I could have even built further on, but I felt like I wasn't doing anything because I wasn't making money at it, or it wasn't on a huge platform. So after a while you start to burn out from that.
Well, yeah, I understand. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I feel like the same thing can be translated into writing. Well, if you're not published, are you really a writer? For me, it's COVID. COVID and comedy are not friends. Am I truly a comedian now that I can't do it? Aren't you always, if you're still working and creating your own internal things? But it's like this whole identity thing. Oh, we're going to like go off on a tangent here, but yeah. Who gives you the permission to call yourself an artist?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you do.
Yep.
Like, a lot of people are going to be like, prove it. You don't have to prove it. If you're doing the work and figuring it out, and sometimes the work is like, today I was focused enough to write for 15 minutes. Yeah. Check. You're a writer.
And I think if you can take the ego, we talked about this before, you can take the ego out of it, right?
Which is so hard.
So hard. So then I'm not writing towards money. I'm not writing towards accolades. I'm not writing towards other people. Then it does give you that freedom to just make your art whatever you want it to be. Which is, I think, what I'm kind of rediscovering. I think I did that more in my earlier days, and then I got away from that, and now I'm trying to come back to it. Yeah. Because I think I don't want to say it was a mistake, but I think the sort of the biggest, wrong turn I took was getting too much into like, no, I have to make something of this. And then it just like, I don't know, I just couldn't ever get it off the ground with that mentality. So yeah. And I think that's the other thing. Everybody's different. Like, I think sometimes people are very motivated by that, and it drives them in a different way. But I'm similar to you. Like, I wanted to use an art form to make a living, because if you made a living, it was real. But then I ran into every gatekeeper ever who wouldn't let me in. So I was like, well, then what does that mean? And I think making art for yourself might not feed your ego, but it might feed something else. And it might not feed your family, but it might feed something else. Somebody like us, we've always been good. I mean, I guess, I was sort of taught early on that it was going to be difficult to make money in the art that I was in at the time, right? So I sort of knew that going in. And if you can figure out a way to balance, but I'm like, I've been balancing that my whole life. I've already been doing that.
Yeah.
So that helps too.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is like, what were we truly trained in? And like, I feel like, and I know we have to get into this 15 minutes, but like, what was I trained to be?
Yeah.
And I think I was trained to please people. And that doesn't work when you want to be an independent artist.
Right.
So how do you pull yourself out of that training, right? Like, how do you be the artist you want to be? And what are your goals? Because some goals are like, I want to make money. Somebody like James Patterson, and I'm not slagging James Patterson off.
Yeah.
I watched his masterclass or whatever, and the guy has a formula. He came from advertising. He knows what he wants to do. That is never going to be my path. Does that make me less of a human being than James Patterson? No. Like, it doesn't, anyway, I don't know what I'm saying.
I think that's why I left sort of the genre that I was in. It was like, I met with a lot of people, and I had, some stuff getting published, and it was working for, in that way. And it was like, okay, here's the formula. Here's how you do it. Here's how you move your way up. Here's how you produce, you produce X amount, you get a bigger fan base, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, great. On this road, get this road. I can do this road. And, I absolutely think that I could have made success at that. I don't know. I couldn't do it. It just wasn't working. It just wasn't working for me. Yeah. I think once I just got it, I don't know. I don't really know why I couldn't do it, but I just couldn't do it. And then I kept trying to do it, and it just kept not working. And I was like, oh, I'm not putting the effort in, or I'm not giving enough time, or I don't have it. You know what I mean? I don't have the discipline. And I was like, no, you don't want to do it. Anything that I want to do, I always do. Yeah. I've done some weird stuff. I always do it. Like, yeah. Yeah. So it's interesting, I think you have to say, like, I don't, this is not, that formula doesn't work for you. It's not, you're not that type of person. And there's nothing wrong with people who do that. I think it's awesome that they do that. Yeah. Some days I wish I could, it just doesn't suit me. Yeah. But that is the thing too, is like, you're also finding your path as you as you make the work. And it can be frustrating when the path doesn't look like anybody else's, or it doesn't fit for whatever reason. It's tricky. It's tricky. But I feel like if you love it, you keep going and you find a path, and who knows what's going to happen, Art has given me all the great things in my life. Yeah. Absolutely, all of them. And so I always remember that, like, the paths that I've taken, the people that I've met, the places that I've gone, the experiences that I have, the way that I look at things now, how I feel about myself, that's all been from being an artist, and even doing art and like in the smaller ways, I guess, that I've always done it. So, and isn't that invaluable? Like, granted, we're not loaded like James Patterson, but isn't that invaluable? It's amazing. It's part. Yeah. That's why I'm like, I got to get back to that, because I feel like, again, it's like you step away from it and you realize that a lot of those other things start to go away as well. Yeah. And I haven't had as much of that in the last 5 years, and I'm like, no. Yeah. I'm going back. We're going back. I love it. Going back. Well, hey. Well, let's do it. We have 15 minutes to prove it. That's right. We're just saying, don't prove anything to anybody. And I'll prove it. No, I really got to stay focused. Yeah, right. Well, hey, I love these kind of chats. I know that I feel like, because it's just you and us at this moment, we're just going for it. Everyone else can just zoom past it. Yeah, we're like, you guys don't go to that last one in October. No, the treat was that they just kept talking. A treat for no one. All right, I got the timer ready. Whenever you want to hit it. All right, guys, this is our 15-minute prompt, and here we go. Write a scene where your character gets exactly what they want and then uses it. I know. On your marks, 15 minutes, get set, right.
Okay.
Yay!
Yeah. How did you do focus-wise? How did it feel?
It was really good. I sat through the whole thing and got a lot of stuff written out. So yeah, it was really nice.
Right.
Yay!
Yay, rah!
Maybe you just gotta say it at the beginning.
Yep.
I'm gonna do this.
Intentions and all that. Gotta say an intention. Oh, we're getting real touchy-feely on this one, and I love it.
What about you?
Yeah, I liked it as well. I felt that I was focusing, I was getting there. I actually wrote a character. Yeah, I think maybe a little YA story. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I hear boots. So I liked it. I do think like putting that intention out there, I felt really focused as well. So I think we tricked ourselves into doing it. Yeah.
We did.
Yeah,
We did.
I know. Well, there's something to be said of like creating art without. Yeah. So not that we don't want people to show up, but it's okay if you don't. Whatever. Yeah. So I know it's 8. We kind of went over a little bit. Do you have any words of wisdom as October is coming to an end? Obviously, we're coming back in November, but anything you want to share with the public?
Wear a mask.
Yeah.
Trick or treating.
Or not trick or treating.
Or not trick or treat, or just throw candy out your window. I want to hear what everybody's favorite candy is. So yeah, join us next week and test it out. I think I'm always like the Snickers. And
we'll see if they stand the test of time.
And why is the pumpkin shape of the Reese's make it taste better? I will not eat a regular Reese's, but I will eat those pumpkin ones. And a tree, if it's in a shape.
Yeah, maybe she was experiment because I'm sure it's the ratio to chocolate to peanut.
I do think it is different.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll all do a candy test and report back next Monday.
Candy test and haunting test.
Yeah. All right, well, solid advice, I think. Till next time.
Thanks, guys.